After getting your first level 60 champion on your new account in Raid, one of your first goals as a new player in Raid is to reach as close to between stage 16 and stage 20 as you possibly can as quickly as possible. Especially stage 20, because in stage 20 dungeons, 4-star quality gear can no longer drop. It's 5 and 6-star quality gear only. So stage 20 is a big one. Stage 16, well, it's just nice and efficient in terms of energy. How are you going to reach those dungeon stages? By building your first ever starter champion team inside of Raid. And would you look at that? Mine just happens to be on screen right now. It's a huge work in progress. But what is up, guys? This is Cobb, and this video is going to be all about building your first starter champion team, your first collection of level 50 / mostly level 60 champions, first 5 champions on your account, and why you want to build these certain champion roles and why it's going to help you advance. Now, before we get started, if you're looking to join me in my new free-to-play quest for 2026 inside of Raid Shadow Legends, then start off your new Raid account right now and play along with me by using the beginner promo link that's down below this video at the top of the description box, man. By clicking on that link and using that link to create a new Raid account, you're going to get yourself Tholin Foulbeard as your day 1 starter legendary, as well as 4 free epic champions that will be delivered straight to your inbox as you level up your account, man. You can also grab Desert Queen, or rather, you can grab Tuhanarak as another free legendary on day 1 by using promo code Desert Queen, and get it all done right now while Xenomorph is the login reward legendary champion. That's a triple legendary stat, man. Doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Now, before we get into the roles that you should be looking to build, my god, man, can I just say I have the greatest bouffon on the back of my head that the world has ever seen right now, man. I got my haircut last night. What's all of this bouffon action I've got going, dude? That's the only word that can adequately describe what is currently present on the back of my head, man. Oh my god, dude, it's literally a marshmallow. So the 5 roles you want to build as your first 5 champions on your account, man. We're going to go in order of, you know what, let's just break them down first and foremost, right? First off, an increased speed buffer champion. Every bloody team needs one, right? An AoE decreased defense champion is going to be absolutely huge. You're of course going to need a nuker champion. That's going to be a big attack all enemies style damage dealer for just nuking down waves of enemies, as well as just being your primary damage dealer against bosses. Next, you're going to need a nuker number 2. I'd actually recommend building 2. Decent core damage dealers for your first starter champion team, although we'll get into the differences between these 2 damage dealer types in just a little bit. And then finally, a healer. You're going to bring some healing to your squad. And while, of course, your nuker is going to be the first damage dealer, or just the first champion that you build up to level 60 on your account so that you can actually farm campaign, ideally, I'm actually going to cover these roles in a very, very specific order, and that is in order of speed. Which of these champions you want to be built the fastest in your team, because that's very, very important, right? If you've got a champion like Tagoar that's bringing an increased speed buff on your team, or if you've got maybe like a Haikatoon on your team and she brings increased speed and 10 meter boost, this is the champion that wants to be fastest on your team, right? They got to be the fastest so that they're maintaining this all-important increased speed buff as much as possible across the rest of your team, right? And so this is a general theme that you're going to see. Generally, champions that apply buffs to your team and apply key debuffs on your team are going to be built faster than your out-and-out damage dealers, right? For example, you want your Tholin Foulbeard as a nuker to be doing all kinds of damage, but you want him to be slower than your Uugo, right? The Uugo needs to be faster than your damage dealer. Why? Uugo's going to be placing the strong version, the 60% version of a decreased defense debuff. That's kind of an important debuff to get up before your damage dealers attack, not after, right? So it seems obvious when you say it like that, but you'd be surprised how many people will misbuild their buffers and their debuffers and stuff. Generally speaking, your nukers would be slower than your buffers and debuffers, especially when it comes to champions that are bringing increased speed buffs in 10 meter fill. And so the first role we're going to cover for this team is going to be your increased speed buffer. Yeah, you want to build this champion that's the fastest on the team. Tagoar is a great option. You can get Tagoar, of course, by using my beginner promo link. He'll show up on your account at level 40, so that's why I've got my hands on him a little bit late. Otherwise, I would have been building him up to level 50 or something by now already, you know. Brings an attack all enemies, 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns, as well as bringing a little bit of healing and a little bit of AoE shielding / revive on the A3 as well. And so Tagoar actually covers multiple roles. He's like half healer, half increased speed buffer. And so, yeah, he's going to be an amazing, amazing member of the team. Another champion you could build instead if you're not starting off your account with My Beginner Link, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but when you eventually get your hands on High Katoon, she could also be a great, great speed lead as well and be built as one of the fastest champions on your account in the early game. She brings not just increased speed, but also some 10-meter fill as well by 15% on a 310 cooldown on her A2, and she also brings a speed aura, ally speed in all battles by 19%. Generally speaking, inside of Raid, 95% of the time, it is just good and correct and awesome to have a speed aura lead as your team leader in your teams, right? This goes for arena as well as PvE content of all kinds. It's actually almost difficult to think of a single team in the game where it's better to not have a speed aura and have like a defense aura, HP aura or something. Speed is king inside of Raid, and so be on the lookout for good increased speed booster champions that bring an ally speed aura like this into all battles. Another great option for your speed booster, if you get so lucky as to pull an apothecary from a mystery shard on your account, like super early on, you can go ahead and build him as well. He might just be a rare champion, but just like High Katoon, he brings a 310 cooldown, increased speed boost, as well as some 10-meter fill on his A3 as well. And so, honestly, if you pull Apothecary from a Mystery Shard very early on, I'd build this guy before you build the Tagoar, just because he's a rare champion and he's so easy to build with those rare skill tomes that, yeah, I'd use Apothecary as the speed booster. I haven't gotten that lucky on this free-to-play account, and so for me, it's going to be the Tagoar. Next role we're going to cover is, of course, going to be the Decreased Defense Champion. This is probably the most universally important debuff to build across all of Raid. What you want to bring is an AoE Decreased Defense. It can't just be single target, right? So Uugo brings in attack all enemies, 100% chance buck to placing Decreased Defense debuff for 2 turns. This is what you're looking for. It's got to be the strong version, the 60% version, and it's got to be on an attack all enemies skill. Uugo's also, again from the beginner promo link, that's in the description box down below. And Uugo is also great because Uugo also brings some healing and some debuff cleanse on the A3 as well. So together, Uugo and Tagoar actually make a pretty decent little healing duo. Like they can handle most of your healing needs, which is great. Neither of them are like dedicated healers, but they both do enough to sort of get you by, so that's great. And they both cover key roles in terms of their buffs and debuffs so far as well. And by the way, as I kind of like put together this team on the free-to-play account, I will eventually demonstrate it in stage 20 dungeons as well as we get a little bit further into the video. Another option that you got for a decreased defense champion if you do not have the Uugo is going to be War Maiden. War Maiden is great because she's a campaign farmable rare champion, so you just farm level 9 of campaign in the Deadlands, and you have a small percentage chance with every run that you complete, which goes up a little bit with every difficulty stage, so you have a decent chance of War Maiden dropping by the time you hit brutal difficulty campaign, as long as you're farming level 9, and she brings on an A3, 310 cooldown, 100% land rate, strong version, decreased defense. It's kind of all she does. She can place a weak version poison on her A1, which is fine into Demon Lord, it's okay, but she's very much a champion that you would look to build up to level 50 and kind of leave her there, because oftentimes you level up to level 60 and then you pull your first ancient shards in your account, and you tend to replace the War Maiden pretty quickly as soon as you've got like a better epic champion option for decreased defense. But she could do the job for you in the super early game. Well, yeah, just early on. Another example champion for this role would be a Tholin, who's kind of a damage dealer debuffer hybrid. She brings an AoE decreased defense on her A3 skill, but she brings another attack all enemy skill on her A2, which makes her just a great AoE nuker as well. She's an attack-based champion, as you can see right here, and has skills and her damage is based on attack. And so you can build her out with a 100% crit rate and build her out for damage, but also make sure that she's a little bit faster than maybe your main nuker champion, like your Tholin, or your Kale, or your Elhain, or whatever champion you started off with is your level 60 nuker. And she can act as debuffer as well as a secondary damage dealer. So yeah, she's a pretty interesting little option as well if you happen to pull her. Next one we're going to cover are our Nukers, and these are the easiest champion type to cover. Your Nuker doesn't necessarily have to be the 3rd or 4th fastest champion in your team. They might be the slowest champion on your team, and that's totally acceptable. But the Nuker or damage dealer type that I'm going to cover first is not really a Nuker. Right, I'm going to cover the damage dealer type in terms of speed that wants to be a little bit faster than just an out-and-out damage dealer like a Tholin Foulbeard, who just kind of wants to smack stuff very hard, right? It's kind of same as Elhain as well. If you start off your team with like an Elhain or a Aethel or whatever, you know, these champions kind of fall into that category of Nuker that's just very focused on dealing direct damage. That's not the champion type that we're covering right here. it's time to touch on the poisoners and the HP burners, right? If you can, right? While I do recommend building 2 damage dealer types into your first starter champion team, it's just going to help you clear through bosses and waves of enemies and stuff like that. Generally speaking, it's good to have 2 damage dealers in your team when you're getting started. Try and build one of them if you can as a poisoner or HP burner, right? It might be a Venomage, which is a champion that you can get from my beginner link, right? And so it's a champion I'm thinking about building. Brings it to attack all enemies, sure, but the main highlight of the skill is its chance, 100% chance to place 2 poison debuffs for 2 turns on all enemies. That's a huge deal, like getting the skill fully booked to getting it to a 3-turn cooldown. It's a lot of poisons. Poisons are great damage sources against bosses in specific. They could be okay against waves as well, but specifically against bosses, poisons are going to be very, very good. And a damage dealer type like Venomage, while it's a damage dealer, it's not a nuker. Exactly, right? You don't need to build a Venomage with 100% crit rate and like crit rate gauntlets and stuff like that, for example. You can if you want, but you don't necessarily have to. You can look to build a damage dealer type like this with, maybe you do want to use crit rate gauntlets if you want to. I don't think you necessarily need to for a Venomage. But you're looking to build these champions just a little bit faster. You know, they've got more of a focus on accuracy and speed, so they can just focus on getting up their all-important debuffs and their poisons and stuff like that, more so than actually dealing direct damage. Dealing direct damage with the Venomage is kind of not even secondary, it's like 4th-ary, if that makes sense. Who the hell cares, you know? Damage dealers that are focused on poisons, like Venomage or even like Xenomorph. It's like, yeah, you can build your Xenomorph with crit rate gauntlets and stuff if you want. We talked about the very, very early game here. Later on, you might want to build Xenomorph with crit damage gauntlets and go full Nuker style. But in the early game, it's like, crit rate gauntlets are just fine. Build for speed and just have your Xenomorph spam the A1 as much as possible, you know, and just get up a crap load of poisons against Demon Lord Clan Boss or against Dragon and like the Dragon Dungeon, you know. Gonna be very, very effective, and you don't really need to bother putting the books into the Xenomorph as well, and so you can get by with just building a faster Xenomorph, you know. So that would be like Nuker type number 1 that we're going to cover. It's not really a Nuker. I should stop calling it Nuker. That's just making things confusing. Just damage dealer type. Poisons, HP burns, that kind of thing. Build them a little bit faster. And then you can go ahead and bring in your slower damage dealers that are just built on direct damage, high crit rate, you know, 100% crit rate, good crit damage if you can, and just deal a lot of direct damage. And the primary job of these champions is really to kill waves of enemies, more so than it is to deal crazy damage against bosses, though they should be dealing pretty good damage against bosses as well, especially because we've got our masteries on our Tholin now, so you know. And the final champion type you want to build is going to be healers. Now, in my starter team, on my account, and using my beginner link on my free-to-play account, that just means the Uugo and the Tagoar are even higher priority than they otherwise would be, because they're going to be taking care of a little bit of shielding from Tagoar, a little bit of healing, a little bit of heals and debuff cleanse coming in from the Uugo as well. And so healer, and the role of healer for me is kind of covered in the free-to-play account already. For you on your account, you can look to champions such as Rector Drath is a fantastic champion. You can get Rector Drath from one of the beginner passes if you want to spend a little bit on your account, which is totally fine. While I'm playing free-to-play on my account right here, you don't have to play free to play. If you want to spend and get the Rector Drath from the beginner pass, you can go ahead and do that. She brings all kinds of healing and perfect veil and continuous heal buffs on her A2. She also handles the reviver role as well, and so Rector Drath is a fantastic very heal focused support. If you happen to pull something like a Doom Priest is also great in the Knights Revenant faction, bringing a speed aura. Well, it's only for Force champions, so the speed aura is not that great, but also brings some healing and some debuff cleanse on the passive of your Doom Priest. She's uniquely great as well because she doesn't need to build accuracy into her kit at all. She brings buffs, she brings an A1 that doesn't require accuracy, all of her heals and her debuff cleanses on her passive. Doesn't need accuracy at all, so she's very simple to build with just very high speeds. And so Doom Priest can be a great support champion healer too. But generally speaking, you're just looking for any old champion that can take care of just a little bit of AoE healing, because generally you're going to need at least a little bit of AoE healing in teams into Ice Golem, where you're going to take a lot of counterattacks from the boss, and so you're going to need a little bit of stability there, otherwise you're not going to get very far. And same thing into Demon Lord Clan Boss. It's a lot of AoE damage that you're taking from the boss that is, you know, unavoidable, and so you got to be ready to take those smacks. And so hopping on over to the main account, I've gone ahead and I've prepared this exact champion team with all of these champions leveled up to level 60. Now, We do also have a booked Xenomorph and a booked Tholin on the main account, of course, and a lot of these epic champions are not just awakened, but are also empowered as well, and that is why on the Tholin, I've removed all of his accessories just to try and knock his stats down a little bit. I'm trying to get him back to somewhere similar to what I might be able to achieve on the free-to-play account after a few months of playing the game. Of course, he's still in lethal gear and stuff like that, but no accessories. I'm just trying to dial his stats down a little bit to make this a bit more comparable. We've also got the Xenomorph on this account as well, where I've pulled some gear off of him. He doesn't have a soul, so I don't feel like I need to pull as much gear off the Xenomorph. He's not awakened, right? But yeah, I pulled off some gear off of him as well, just to try and get his gear a little bit comparable. Same thing with the Uugo. I've actually pulled like 4 pieces of gear off of the Uugo, because the Uugo's +4 as well as 5-star awakened, so I had to pull a lot of gear off of the Uugo. And so as I just checked this team real quick, you'll be able to see that the stats on these champions are not mental. The Tholin's sitting at like 172 speed. His crit rate's 100, and his crit damage is very, very nice, like 270. I'd kill for that on the free-to-play account, you know, but yeah, this is what the stats look like on the Tholin. This is what they look like on the Uugo, so it's like a 200 speed Uugo. It might take like 4 or 5 months for me to get these kind of stats on my champions on the free-to-play account. It's going to take some time, some grinding of tournaments and stuff like that, but I just want to give a quick idea of what the stats look like on some of these champions, as you can see. It's also important to note that the Tholin is one of the slower champions on the team at 170 speed, whereas the fastest champion on the team is going to be the Tagoar, coming in at 236. Then after the Tagoar, we have the Uugo, who's coming in at 226, and then a bit slower than the Uugo, we have our poison damage dealers in Venomage and in the Xenomorph, right? And so you can see why it's also important that I cover those champions in that specific order. It's also crucial that you've got your faster, like your speed buffer champions as the fastest champions on your team, and then your debuffer champions coming in after those guys, and etc, etc, right? You want your damage dealers to come in after your buffs and debuffs have been applied. And so, Dragon Stage 20, this should be this team's bread and butter, is taken on dungeons that are just like this. And so let's just see how they do, shall we? We're going to get the increased speed up from the Tagoar, the decreased defense goes up from the Uugo, and yeah. The Tholin's now going to get to come in and just do what the Tholin does against waves. Now, of course, my Tholin I probably should have pulled even more gear off my Tholin, to be honest, because he's hitting like a bloody truck right here, but hopefully your Tholin can hit hard enough to do that to waves as well, and yeah, because we've got the Tagoar on the team that's handling a little bit of shielding and is also bringing a revive. We don't mind too much if anybody dies against the wave here. It's not the end of the world, not the end of all things. But as you can see, we're going to be able to pulverize our way through to the boss pretty effectively. And then once we get to the boss, because we've got poisons on the team as well as the decreased defense from the Uugo, so bam, decreased defense comes out and all these poisons are now going to get spammed against the boss. Oh man, this boss is done. Dude, like, being able to farm Dragon 20, and the reason I'm focusing on Dragon, by the way, Dragon Stage 20 is the creme de la creme of what you want to be farming on an early game raid account. Why? It drops speed gear. It drops speed set gear, man. The quicker you can farm up a lot of speed set gear with speed substat rolls and like speed is the main stat on speed boots, like, oh my goodness, dude, you're going to start popping off real quick on your account because speed set is like one of the best sets in the game, even on later game accounts. It's just that good. And so getting a lot of good speed gear on your support champions and getting your Uugo and your Tagoar and stuff like that moving extremely quickly is like half the battle. Like, you've kind of won raid at that point. Man, would I have loved to have that weapon on my free-to-play, by the way. But yeah, Dragon Slayer, whenever there's a Dragon tournament active, there's almost always like a 3x drop chance or 2x drop chance sometimes on this speed set right here. This is what you're looking for, man. Whenever there's a Dragon tournament active, even if you're only able to farm stage 16, I'd recommend farming it, even on like a 2-week-old account, dude. Just do it, man. Tunnel some energy into it, get some farming done, farm up some speed gear, some 5 or 6-star quality speed gear if you can. Stage 16 is pretty good to farm because it's quite energy efficient, but stage 20 is even better because 4-star artifacts can no longer drop in stage 20 dungeons. This team should also do just fine as well into Ice Golem's Peak. You might need to find that you reduce your damage output a little bit in Ice Golem's Peak, and you do that by going on in and taking your starter team, which we're going to take right here, and you just want to go into round 3 in your presets and just limit the amount of AoE damage and amount of attackable enemy skills that your team is using in the final round against the boss. That's what I'd recommend, just so that you're sort of like reducing your damage output a little bit against the boss, and you're triggering less of the boss's counterattacks. It just gives your healer champions a little bit more time to sort of catch up with their healing job and make sure that you're not dying early against that. Now, against Fire Knight's Castle and Spider's Den, your tools required become a little bit more specialized. You start to need things like 10-meter control champions and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that could be a good, like, role number 6 or 7 that you build on your account, right? After you've built your... Oh, God, I'm still on the main account. Hang on a sec. Let's switch back to the free to play. I forgot I was on the main account just there. After you've built, like, your Nuker, your Poisoner, decreased defense, increased speed, and some heals, those are, like, your 5 core beginner roles. You can then look to start build more specialized roles for farming certain dungeons that are going to be a problem, right? Lightsworn, you get them from my beginner promo link, it attacks one enemy 3 times, decrease enemy 10 meter by 10% for each hit. Dude, this is a fantastic, fantastic champion to build into Fire Knight, right? 10-meter control and a triple hitter. You're looking for multi-hitter champions that bring 10-meter control as well as decreased speed debuffs if you can into Fire Knight. And so Lightsworn does a great, great job as a champion to build into Fire Knight specifically. He could also help out into Spider as well. And so you can start to build 10-meter decreases as like your next specialized role after you've built your core starter team. And as Marco Pierre White would say, there we are. There we have it. You know what I'm saying? That's your starter champion team. And it's going to do decent into Demon Lord Clan Boss because of the poisons. Also into Demon Lord Clan Boss, by the way. Venomage, very, very valuable because another key tool you want to bring into Demon Lord Clan Boss is this strong version decreased attack debuff as well. And so Venomage is really fantastic to build into Demon Lord. And so... yeah, I don't know, man. If you start a new raid account like 2 days ago or something, you're watching this video, I'd recommend you restart with the beginner promo link that's down below this video at the top of the description box, man, because these starter champions, these starter epic champions, forget the Tholin and the 3 legendary champions down, which is fantastic. The 4 epic champions are amazing for progression as well, and make great, great champions for your starter team, man. So there you have it, man. Use the beginner promo link that's down below this video at the top of the description box to create your new raid account right now and play along with us in this free-to-play series. That's what my starter champion team is going to look like. And I'm going to catch all of you all just a 10 bit later, man.